Okay, today we're going to finish this arm up to the point where we can glue it on. We're going to do his hand and pretty much be finished with the wood carving part of that. Like I mentioned earlier, I still have this area to do, but I'm not going to do that until this arm is locked on this body solid, and then I'll do that. So let's just take him apart here. Get his arm off there. Remember last time I explained how we wanted a nice relaxed hand? And I think we've got that there. We still got a little bit to go on him, but I think we're aiming in the right direction. One thing I did do is I went ahead and I made my cigarette. Now this is a piece of 1/8 inch wire, and it works out to be just about the right scale for the cigarette that he would be smoking. Now remember when they didn't have ready-made cigarettes back in those days, so this is a roll your own. So I went ahead and I sanded down the back end of it to where it looks like it might fit in his mouth, you know, squeezed together. And I also put a little bend in it. Not much, just a little bit, because he's holding it between his fingers, and he rolled it himself, so it's not going to be round and firm and fully packed, as the old advertisement used to say. So that little bend in there just gives this thing just a little bit extra character. And that's what we're after here. We want to get lots of character in this piece. I went ahead and made it because as I'm carving this, I'll want to be able to fit this thing in there to make sure I've got it correct. Now you could use a piece of 1-inch dowel if you want, wooden dowel if you wanted to, but this wire is a lot stronger and will work better. Don't ask me where I got the wire for it. I just found this piece down in my wire drawer. I don't throw stuff away, so when I come across something I think I might want to use, I'll spare it away and have it handy just in case. So anyway, I got my cigarette here. So let's go ahead and get gloved up and continue on with this hand. I've outlined, drawn in the fingers. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to start kind of rounding this off gently like to get down to the, and I noticed in the last video that I was moving this thing all over the place, up and down. I'll try to remember to keep my carving in the picture as much as possible. I know it's hard to follow me sometimes, but that's just the way I carve, so you're just going to have to keep up sometime. I ain't getting paid for this, you know. Well, actually, I'm getting a few tips now and then, and believe me, they're really appreciated. They help me pay for that blog site. So I guess I better shut up. So just gently start carving my groove here. Looking good. And like I say, what we're doing here and what we want to do is, as we're doing this, we want to make sure that we try to keep it in the same scale as this hand here. So this looks thick and blocky now. So we just have to take our time, take a little off each time until we get down there. And we don't want to lose our curved, relaxed grip. So I'm going to whittle on this a while after Judy stopped the camera, because I don't think you need to see me take every chip that I want to take off of here. It takes forever and it puts me under pressure for fear of screwing up right in front of the video camera's lens. So let's just break away here for a minute. When we come back, I'll have this thing whittled down to where we can hopefully start doing some detail work on those fingers. Okay. Remember when I said a minute ago I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of the camera? What's wrong with this hand? See if you can guess it real quick. Probably out there laughing at me. Well, this happens to all of us, and it seems to happen more often the older you get. So I'll blame it on that, okay? Anyway, how many fingers does this guy have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, gee, I only have 4. Well, what the hell's going on here? Well, anyway, see? Even I make mistakes, as perfect as I am. We've got to make some corrections here real quick, so I'm going to ask Judy to turn off that camera again and see if I can straighten this out. Okay, I think I saved this thing. Now don't go telling anybody what I did, because if I find out, I'm going to block you from my blog. I don't want to be the laughing stock of the carving world because I carved too many fingers on some guy. All right, anyway, here he is. Let me show you what he looks like after he's got the right number of fingers on him. There, see, that looks pretty good now, don't it? Actually, it turned out better looking than it did before. So sometimes small mistakes actually end up benefiting you. What's under here? So, I carved that extra finger off. I indicated down here with my pencil the joints of that little finger. See, as it's been around there, see, it's just basically a Y in there. So let me go ahead and just put that in there. Just the little notch is all you need. Just like that. Finished. Now we'll come up here and kind of thin that down just a bit. Now I also took my pencil and I indicated the joint lines on each side. Okay? But I don't want to carve those in there until I get the hole drilled for my cigarette. Alright? Now, use my pencil here as a cigarette. So the cigarette's going to hit just about that first joint right there, okay? So I'm going to have to drill my hole about right there, and have it hopefully come out right there. Now, drilling that hole. Don't use a drill. If you use a drill, you're going to splinter this, because a drill, hang on, let me get a drill here and I'll show you. Okay, she says it's recording. So anyway, I made this little example stick up here just to show you why you shouldn't use a drill. Hopefully this won't prove me a liar. But anyway, this is a 1/8 inch drill, same size as my cigarette. But if you look at the end of the drill, you know, you've got that twist coming down there. And when that goes into the wood, what that's going to do is rip it. And I'll show you here. I'll just start it out small, or slow. Now, see how it split it? It's all split there. around there. Actually, that hole's not so bad, but I'll show you a better way to do it. Cord's not long enough. This is my old Dremel. Now this is a 1/8 inch bit, but this is going to spin real fast, and it doesn't have those two parts. It pretty well has, so shoot, I can't count them. There's a heck of a lot of grooves coming down there, but there's a lot of them there. So when you do it with this, there, which is the better hole? Now granted, this kind of split these parts apart when I push that drill through there, but that's only because there's nothing back here to hold them together. Well, we got something back here to hold them together. But see how much better that Dremel did it? And this probably won't go in there. Nope. So I can use that Dremel to widen out that hole to where it will go in there. Still needs a little work. But do you see what I'm trying to indicate here? That Dremel will stop you from having an accident and screwing up your hand. So that's what I'm going to do with this hand right here. And being as kind of cramped right in there, I'm going to come in from this side over here. What I'm doing is I'm just gradually widening that hole out to accept this cigarette. I think I pretty well got it. Yep, I just about got it. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to force that cigarette in there to split those fingers apart. You want those fingers locked together, especially back here, because that gives you the strength in your piece. Now I've just about got it here, but let me tell you another thing that I did. As I was drilling that out, I saw that I was going to have to take out quite a bit in there to get this thing in there. So just to ease it just a little, I took my cigarette back over to my sander, and I hope you can see it here. See how I trimmed that down, sloped it down from the front to make it flatter on both the top and the bottom. See there? Now, when you think about it, being as it's a roll-your-own cigarette, it would be so soft that when he held it in his fingers, it would actually flatten out like that. So you're not doing something that is not correct. And at the same time, this is going to help you. So let's just put this in here. And let's put this on his arm. And put that together. And put his head back on. Yeah, Tell me that that doesn't look good. Huh? What do you think about that? I think that looks slick. Now, with this thing like it is, I can go ahead and do the detail work of the fingers, because I've got the critical part done. Get that back out of there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ease that hole to where it's more natural, okay? And by that I mean I'm going to separate these two fingers out here on the end. And as you do this, be very careful. I don't know if you can see that, but even me pushing my blade through there, you can see those two fingers want to come apart. So we have to be very careful in doing that there. Now I've relaxed the grain enough to where I don't have to worry about it splitting. Now I need to carve back to that hole. Now on this other side, I want to do the same thing, just a little bit, not a lot. That's good. Let's see what it looks like over here. This is where orienting your grain really comes into play. Because if you haven't done it right, boy, you're going to have a problem. Get out of there. There, look at that. Now let's put this back in here. What do you think? That looks pretty good. Okay, we're beyond the crisis point. Now we can kind of take a deep, relaxed breath, not a deep breath, just a relaxed breath, and we can go ahead and finish with these fingers by just indicating the creases of the fingers. You don't want to do too much, just to indicate it, because remember, this is, the more you take off, the weaker it gets out here. So we don't want to take off too much. Getting tight in there. What I'm looking at there is I was looking at the length of this finger, because this one's a little shorter than that one up there, see? I'm going to put another groove right here. Alright, now let me see. Okay, now on the back here, I want to indicate those joints just by taking a chip off between the lines. Get out of there. See, that gives us our 3 joints. Now we just round those. Let's get a pad right there, so I'm going to fix that. Stick up here. This is where giving yourself enough wood to play with really comes into play too. Well, I think that looks pretty good. Still a little square right in here. I'll fix that. Check this side. Oh, one more thing. Just like on the other hand, I see another area that needs to be fixed right there. See how thick this one is compared to that one there. We'll fix that too. Is we want to cut the grooves on the back of the hand. So here's the center of our hand, so we want to take these right back to that point. And that will make our hand look a lot better. So again, just like over there on this hand over here, we'll start right up here behind the knuckle and just go back. Maybe just a little one right here. There, see how much better that makes that hand look? Especially if I take off a little right up there. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Where did I say it looked square? We're basically done. Well, actually we are done. All I'm doing now is just a little fine tuning. Let me get this guy a thumbnail right there. There, see there? Give me a little thumbnail right there. Put the cigarette back in. Put that back on there. Put his head back on. Turn that cigarette just a bit. Well, I think he looks pretty good. So, six-fingered Monte is now five-fingered Monte, and we have pretty well finished this over here. Now all we have to do is strap this, glue and strap this arm on, let that thing set up, come back here at the final moment and flesh everything together with our knives, just like we did over here. And he's ready for some burning detail and then a trip over to the paint table. So let's glue him up real quick. Put some glue into the hole right there. Put the dowel back in. A little glue in this hole. Put them back together. Kind of push her together, line her up good. See my two marks there on top? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and get a wet brush, damp brush, and wipe off all that excess glue, and then I'm going to come back here and put my rubber strap on, okay? Okay, I wiped off all that excess glue. You want to get as much of that glue off of there as you can, because nothing will dull a knife worse, or nothing will dull a knife quicker than a bunch of old dried out glue. So just hold that on there and start wrapping. And again, these old strips of inner tube make the best clamps you can find, because every time you take a wrap it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay, I think that's enough. So I'll just put my thumb there and that'll give me a space to stick the other end down. Not there, like that. And we'll just leave that together. Check it one more time, make sure we got her all down. I'll pull this one down a little lower. Right there. The reason I'm doing that is because most of my wrap pressure is up here on top, and I want to make sure I get some down here on the bottom to hold that arm in there. Okay? And I think we're good to go there, so we'll just put old Monte back on his stand. Maybe. Give him his head back. I think he needs his gun. And just let him sit there overnight and become one with himself. Next time, we'll take that off, we'll fix that arm up, we'll do the back, and then we're finished and we head over to the painting table.